Okay.
Okay, call to order the Town of Berlin's Planning Commission meeting of February 9th, 2022. I get a motion to adopt this evening's agenda.
Motion to adoption.
Second?
Here.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Approval of the minutes from the January 12th, 2022 meeting. Anybody have any changes or anything, or anything you'd like to approve? Take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Election of the chairman and vice chairman. Would anybody like to nominate it?
I nominate Chris Denny for another term as chairman.
Anybody else? Or anybody like to second?
Second.
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Election of the vice chairman. Would anybody like to nominate anybody?
New, you're the vice chairman now, aren't you?
Mr. Cassio is the vice chairman.
No,
No.
Mr. Starr is the vice chairman.
Who is?
Matt is.
Don't take away my title.
Okay. I don't know.
You can have it now.
I stood down there, I didn't know.
Nominate Matt.
Anybody like the second nomination, Mr. Stewart?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
He never got a chance to cover for you because you were healthy this year. So.
That's right.
It's a good year.
Good. Item number 5, site plan review, storage in the B2 zoning district, Evans Road. Come up front, anybody need to recuse himself?
Mr. Chairman, I'll recuse myself from these proceedings.
Okay. Ms. Stacy. Okay, would you like to introduce
Could you
yourself?
introduce yourself for the record?
My name's Chris Carball, and with me tonight is Jason Lindsay. We're both with the Atlantic Group and Associates.
Okay. Would you like to tell us what you'd like to do?
On behalf of Evans Park LLC, we gave you a brief overview of the storage project. The site's located on Evans Road and is identified as tax map 25, parcel 339. The parcel is 4.97 acres. The property is zone B2. Storage facilities are permitted within the B2 district. The proposed storage facility shall consist of 10 buildings. There's a total of 511 storage units proposed. There's also a 400 square foot office proposed in the small building out by the entrance. The project has retained approximately 28% open space. The site will be secured by a proposed 6-foot fence. And David, I believe, has passed around, illustrations of what we believe the buildings will look like in character. As you can see, they're proposed to be some neutral beige and green color and to be one-story structures. With that said, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I guess 511 units, is that what you said?
Yes.
500 units, storage units. I guess my first question would be, how much traffic does that create for that?
I do not bring that into this equation, but,
I mean, how often does somebody visit if it's a
I
tiny
mean,
thing or?
from my experience, it's not, something that creates a lot of traffic. You have, people coming in infrequently, but, I don't know if I have the exact answer what the average daily trips would be. I have to refer to other professionals in the room to get that answer.
Is there any other facility around the area that has that many units? Anything close to us on Route 50? I know there's a few.
I cannot personally think of one or know what even the numbers are in the area of facilities, to be honest with you.
These things, I guess the ones on Route 50 are more the, more traveled road, two-lane highways, et cetera, so
Right.
curious. Anybody have any questions for?
I have a question. Mr. Carlos, there's only, if I'm reading this right, you got 3 parking spaces, or 4? Or
5.
3 in a handicap?
There's 4
One,
handicaps.
2, 3, 4 in a
Four and a
handicap.
handicap, yes.
That's to service 500 units.
Correct. I mean, that's just basically for people coming in to, I guess, get access from the office. You know, you would, have a key gate that people usually go straight to their storage unit.
Okay.
That's just to basically get, I guess, access to a unit, pick up, whatever information you need.
And to your knowledge, that's standard, like the one west of Route 50 Chris is talking about. Did you do a site visit there? Is this sort of comparable to that one?
I personally did not compare, I don't know what's being laid out or designed at that site. Like I said, I just know typically my experience is, you just come to get, access or, rent a unit at the office. And, from there you get access to the gate, go straight to your unit. So it typically doesn't require a lot of parking.
Thank you.
Are the units all the same size?
No, they would all be varying sizes.
I think they range from like 10 by 20 to like 5 by 5.
So I guess in the future, like a heating and air company couldn't rent that and they park trucks over there overnight?
No, this
like
isn't
that.
contractor shops, this is self-storage.
I mean, it couldn't morph into that, I assume.
No, that's not what's being proposed. They are definitely self-storage units, no contractor shops proposed.
Would the whole thing be built at one time, or?
No, it would be likely, it's definitely a phased project. The back larger 3 buildings are climate control buildings, and the smaller buildings out front are not.
Are they wide open back in the back, or are they?
No, they're all enclosed.
They're enclosed?
Yeah.
I mean, not wide open, right? I mean, as far as if you want to park a car or a boat or something in there.
There are larger units in the bigger buildings.
Is there going to be on-site security?
Not full-time, during business hours or
There'll be
there's
security.
somebody in the office.
There'll be someone there 24/7.
Well, I can't say they're gonna be there 24/7, they'll be there periodically, but, again, it's a secure, site with the fence. And gate access.
Let's say, as far as lighting goes, it's on the individual buildings,
Yeah, just, basically along the corners of the buildings and, periodically along the drive aisles on the building.
Are they, what kind of lighting on the buildings?
Well, if you see kind of even, I don't know if your images, I got some more here.
I mean, is it down,
They're just basically lights that go on the facade, the face of the building.
are they going to be downlit?
Yeah.
So no one in the neighborhood, the people in the neighborhood community will not see the light
Correct,
bulb
I mean,
itself?
you want to direct the light on,
Okay,
on
down.
site, yes.
And you have, I guess depicted here, trees along the Evans Road, border of the property. Would that be the existing forestation that you would save?
Well, we're gonna try to, and again, I got an image here, there's a pretty good vegetative buffer around the whole perimeter of the
Pretty
site.
good, yeah.
We're gonna try to retain as much of that as we
That would
can.
be good.
And supplement that, where we have to try to create a nice vegetative buffer around the whole perimeter of the site.
Would you consider moving the fence a little bit if you had to?
We will, again, what we're gonna do during the construction document phase is kind of go out there and locate each specific tree and kind of figure out how we can
Okay, so
best fit the
you're
fence.
gonna pay attention to
Yeah,
keep
to existing vegetation where we can.
Okay. This is pretty good now, there's no sense in losing it.
Well, I would like to really make it clear that the approval is based on dense perimeter vegetation, at least on the westerly and Evans Road side.
It's already there.
Yeah, I know,
Just gotta keep
but I just want
Yeah.
to make sure we know we're looking for
Right.
serious blockage here. from Evans Road, not just low bushes, but high stuff.
Yeah, I think the plan for Evans Road is to come in with a solid, vegetative buffer. That would be new material, that's kind of clean, because there's more scrub stuff there in the front of Evans Road, of the property. So he would like to do a nice landscaping frontage to the, the Evans Road portion of
Yeah,
the
we
property.
really want to keep that looking halfway decent out there, if
Yeah.
that's what we can, so.
That's his intent. I mean, he's already said he wants to make sure he has a really nice landscape project.
So that condition doesn't cause you any problems for
No,
dense vegetation?
no, we can accommodate that.
Also, what we're talking about, how about signage? I don't see a sign on here, I don't think.
The proposed, what we had right there at this time was, you can see on the fence, is to have, some kind of signage feature where the 45-degree bend is at the entrance on the fence.
Is there a picture of that somewhere or something?
We don't have anything designed at this point, but that's the intent for the location for the sign.
Can we agree that I'd really like to see the sign and know its
Yeah.
size?
It just hasn't been designed yet.
You're not going to do some obtrusive thing, right?
No, I mean, something that fits into the character of Berlin, just so there's something there somebody can identify that this is the storage property, have the name on it,
Can we
small
agree it
scale.
won't be illuminated?
What was that again?
Can we agree that it will not be illuminated?
Sure,
No illuminated sign?
sure.
I would like to have some reserve on our part or on the zoning administrator's part to be able to look at that sign.
That's fine, I mean, we can make that a condition that once the sign's designed, that we get it back to Dave, if he wants to send it around to the commission, make sure there's no objections, I don't see any problem with that.
I mean, that's something the public's going to see and
Mm-hmm.
we want it to look good.
Is this the color you're going after right here?
That's my understanding, yes.
And the color of the fence, I assume, is that a,
The proposal we heard, he's considering a black fence,
What kind of?
Well, that's what I'm-
black chain link fence.
Okay,
you have that on here? Looks like that. Ron,
okay.
good. Considering the black, does that look good to anybody, or anybody have a defense
Better than a stockade fence.
on there? I think that I guess the black fence looks good to us, as opposed to the galvanized or.
Yeah, I think the black would look good.
Hopefully it'll be mostly be hidden by vegetation anyhow, or will it be outside the vegetation?
No, I mean, right now it's planned to be inside the vegetation.
So you don't have a problem with that being a condition, having
No.
a fence inside the vegetation?
Right, yeah.
Anybody have any other questions?
In the public, Chris.
Anybody in the public have any comments or questions, please? Yes, ma'am, state your name, please.
Marie Delon, 400 West Street. Where, is this in the town limits? Are they on water and sewer?
You're not on water and sewer as far as I understand, Dave, are they?
So this
Not
is
yet.
annexed? Is this
Part of
being
that.
This
annexed?
is already
It's
part of
been
town.
annexed.
It has been
Yeah,
annexed?
2003, I believe.
Where is the stormwater going from this building? These buildings?
We have a stormwater BMP proposed in the back rear of the site. We will have to meet stormwater requirements for the project.
I
So
believe
it's
it.
just going into a drainage ditch? Is that what you're, I mean?
Well, the
where's it
outfall-
gonna go?
The outfall will be back along a drainage ditch along the railroad, but, for the most part, the goal is to infiltrate as much of the runoff as we can on site.
Because that runoff is going to come directly down the Bottle Branch, and it goes to West Street. All of that stuff on that side. So,
But again, we are required to meet the stormwater requirements.
the requirements that have been before haven't really helped the situation. So I hope that they're really good.
The site has
It would be
been approved a few times before for storage facilities already, correct? Or-
Right, but the stormwater has to be submitted and reviewed by the town's stormwater engineer, EA Engineering.
Yes.
And it has to be handled on site. And, you know, that just hasn't, that submission of how the stormwater is handled hasn't been given to us yet. So that would be before any permit.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I believe Mr. Carvine's working on that, or Mr. Lindsay's working on that right now on the stormwater calculations. So just like any other project in town, it gets submitted to us for review and approval according to the Maryland Department of Environment guidelines. So any of those provisions, if they can't handle the stormwater on site, then they have to come up with their own facilities, whether it's a pond or a submerged gravel wetland or any device like that. They have to engineer that into the site. They can't discharge their stormwater off site.
Right, and you can see that's already planned in the back of the property. There's a very large area, you know, that's been left to accommodate stormwater management.
And that would be inside the fence also?
Oh, yes, yes.
It's got to be on their site.
Yes. Any other questions from the public? Anybody? Yes, again. Yes, ma'am.
So you guys don't approve the stormwater plans, it's up to the
It's up
town?
to the professionals, the consultants,
That's interesting.
All that's required is that any project comply with stormwater requirements, and that's all reviewed by the town's engineer. It's outside our expertise, but the projects are all subject to proper stormwater management plan.
So the public really has no say in how that's being done at all?
No, you have a site. You could say it right now if you want to.
Well, I know, but it's not going to do any good if I don't know what you're doing.
Well, that's why you got to bring your own expert to challenge the project. Or you can go talk to the town engineer.
Any other questions from the public? And would anybody like to make a motion to approve, disapprove, or is there a concept here, or a final?
I move we approve, subject to the condition of dense landscaping as represented here at the hearing on the westerly and northerly Evans Road side. I think it's proposed on all sides, but that's particularly our interest. And that you will submit a sign plan to the administrator. He'll pass it around for us to take a look at. If we don't like it, we'll let you know. And no illuminated signs. That's my motion.
You know, no black fence inside the vegetation was,
Yeah, the fence will be hidden by the vegetation.
no black fence. Anybody like to second, or
Second.
all in favor? Aye, opposed? Okay, we're all set. Thank you. Number 6, concept plan review, Berlin Activity Depot. Activity Depot.
Nice work.
All right, sir, would you like to introduce yourselves and
Yes, I'm Dave Romancic, for those of you who don't know me, and with GMB Engineers.
I am Carmela Salido, and I am the owner of Berlin Activities Depot.
And we also have Betty Tustin, who helped us with the traffic consultant, and Jessel Silva, who's the engineer with GMB. So let me just give you a brief overview of what we're doing here. This is, I think you're all familiar with the Berlin Activities Depot.
yes,
So this is in red is the existing facility, and we're proposing to do a north addition It's going to include a restaurant and various other activities that Carmella can elaborate on. A southern addition, about 11,000 square foot footprint. It's going to have an activities pool. Plans are a little less developed for that. And a mezzanine level also. And then a freestanding building, which will be a private school on the ground floor and then offices upstairs. And that's about 7,000 square feet roughly. So this will build out that whole site. So it kind of looks like it's always been in the works, and I think it's been in here in different forms before. But this is what we're proposing a master concept for, and we're here for just a discussion on what your thoughts are. We've gone through with the town, and it meets all the zoning requirements. So we've also met with the town stormwater engineer, and they are requiring us to manage the 100-year storm because of flooding downstream of that. So the system we have here, we run the conceptual numbers. It works to manage we're going to have a submerged gravel wetland, 2 submerged gravel wetlands. All this parking will be pervious, and it meets the 100-year storm managed to this point right here, the outfall to this town stormwater system. We seem to, we're code compliant. There is a couple of items here that should be noted. The parking, which Betty can explain how we are computing the parking, it extends into the town right away, and we've verbally been given permission to go about 10 feet into the town right away. We haven't worked out the details of that at all. It's also going to be combined with the stormwater management system, since they're asking us to put in this burden of managing the 100-year storm on site. Town's been willing to cooperate with this. It's kind of an irregular right away there. And must date back to a time when the road was a different configuration, Graham Avenue. So that's basically it. I'll let Carmella talk a little bit more about the specifics of the restaurant, which are going up front, and what's going to happen. The North Edition, which is also in your packet.
Okay, I have a quick question before you get started. When the original building was built, there was, in the parking lot, there was a place for the stormwater, and it never materialized. Dave, do you know anything about that, or as far as, I thought we had approved that it was supposed to be kept on site back in the day, or did it ever?
No, there wasn't a pond, a storage facility there, no.
It was, anyway, I just vaguely remember something like that, what you're proposing down here on the, looks like this.
Yeah, we're gonna have 2, there's submerged gravel wetlands, they're like ponds. The soils on site are, there's a high water table, and they're very poorly drained, so it's really our only option for stormwater management. And with the original building, this is why you don't see anything out there, is this was, if you remember, it was completely a parking lot.
Oh, yes.
Pretty much, so it was 100% impervious roughly, for practical purposes. So the stormwater management requirement was met by simply removing impervious area.
Okay.
So they
I just remember there was a big
Right.
big thing going on.
There was, but he's correct, when it was all paved, and then if you realize the way it is now, going down to Nelson Street and towards Graham Avenue, it's a large grass area, so that was pervious area.
Okay.
So that was where that change came. Knowing that at some point in the future, the buildings would be expanded, or the site would be expanded, because we did a phased approval back then. Ms. Alito was counting on, she's been very successful there, so she was counting on it growing, and here we are.
Okay.
So that was reviewed as a redevelopment, and this is going to be developed, it's reviewed as a new development. So we'll be held at the highest possible standard, and the 100-year storm management, which is beyond what and DEM requires, so.
Let me be clear, are you, all 4 of these proposals you're here for tonight, the 4 additions? Is that right, or?
Yeah, well, 2 additions and the freestanding building, so north addition, south addition,
Okay.
and the freestanding building. So we're just here to talk about the master plan and get your thoughts on it.
Are you looking for approval tonight, or are you?
No, this is just a conceptual
Okay.
discussion, so. Yeah,
Okay, I was just curious
If
about
we
that.
want to give approval, that's fine too.
I see those kids playing out there all the time on 346, they're gonna leave the playground, huh?
No, playground staying. The front addition is gonna be a family support center. It's, we're in the process of putting our board together right now. Part of it is gonna be used to service young teen moms and 0 to 3-year-olds that can't afford our services. So that's the first part that we're doing. We did just get, so far, about $1 million over 3 years to put into the Family Support Center. One of the reasons why we have the restaurant there is because they're gonna learn how to do cooking classes for young families, and then we're gonna multi-use that as a restaurant as well. So we're gonna do a big community garden and that kind of thing.
Is the restaurant's a public restaurant open this
Yeah.
morning? And how many square feet is it?
The whole thing is about 13,000 square feet because it's upstairs and downstairs.
Oh, okay, so we're talking 2 stories.
Yeah, the restaurant's a little over 2,000 square feet. It's not huge, but
We're gonna have to take that window and everything, so.
and there's elevations in the back too. That's what conceptually looks like. I know there was some issues with the appearance of those,
The boxes on top of the roof.
yeah. It's what we're proposing here to hide, we're gonna put them on top of the roof and you can see that conceptually there. There's gonna be a mansard roof to hide them, behind there.
The new ones or the existing ones?
The existing ones and the new ones are all gonna be,
So you're gonna move the existing ones?
yeah,
Bravo.
yeah.
Thank you.
I knew that would make you happy, Ron.
No surprise.
Trust me, they have been a pain in the bumper.
What is the 2-story building going to be?
It's gonna be on Grand Avenue, the corner of Nelson and Graham,
What's it going to be used for?
right here.
As of right now, a non-public school.
Okay, private school.
60 students. Yes, 60 students maximum.
So will there be daycare or schooling going on in the main part, or is that all going to move over to the new 2-story building?
There will still be, we're right now on a 2-year wait list. We've taken our adult fitness and made that classrooms, we've taken our ninja and made that classroom, so we are gonna, it will be adding additional school, it will be a non-public school.
But like your daycare that you currently have, will that still be going on in the other building
Yes,
with classrooms and so forth?
yes.
So in other words, classrooms will be in both buildings? And what grades were you anticipating in the 2-story building?
Kindergarten, maybe first, possibly second, depending on which grants that we write, that we get. Right now, we have a pretty big pre-kindergarten expansion grant for Worcester County. We were the first to have that. So we have 4 classrooms right now with that, and they would like us to do more. MSD would like us to do more. So it depends on where the funding.
Is there a timeline yet for construction, Carmel?
I want to start tomorrow.
I know.
Let's put it this way, next week I'm going to visit all the different family support centers in Maryland, and the Department of Education is coming down to tour our facility next Friday because they would like to give us the money like yesterday too. Just, I get busy with day-to-day operations and, lots of students and everything, so.
So this would be the first part built,
Yeah.
the north addition with the restaurant in there.
Yep, and our adult fitness is gonna go there too, because everybody misses that. Our Ninja's gonna go there as well.
Do you have any elevation showing what the buildings are gonna look like?
Yeah.
Are they the same?
Well, this is this is the north addition. It's better developed. This is the existing building you're looking at here, and then this is the addition. And this is from Old Ocean City Road, looking at.
Should be the same materials and everything, just like the original one with the red roof and the,
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I would change is the red roof doesn't match the red bricks, so I would do a different color of bricks if we do bricks, but I don't think we're doing bricks. I think we took that out altogether.
So then the south addition and the other, the school are, we're not as developed, but I assume they're gonna be in a similar architectural style.
I like color schemes and I like it to look
So it'll look
good.
beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've run a heck of a nice facility there. My
Thank you.
grandkids love it.
Oh, yay! We love all our kiddos. I'm excited about family sports. It's something I've always wanted to do, so.
Do you have anything for adults there?
Yeah, it's all the way, it's, right now we're like working out all of the details of it, but it's to kind of focus on 0 to 3 for kids who don't have the resources and parents, but it's open for all ages.
So, when are you gonna build a racquetball court?
We still have some space in there.
I'd love to see one of those, and then I'll come and join.
Pickleball, the girls that work for me have been asking for pickleball.
Well, adults in this town in the winter are desperate for someplace to go to do something. I know I am.
Yeah,
You can serve the adults on, that would be cool.
yeah, they've definitely missed our adult fitness and
You
our
still got a
ninja.
steam- you still got a steam to play racquetball?
Yeah. You don't keep moving, you're gonna die.
That's right.
I see you have a parking analysis, I see.
Yeah.
There's a, so if everything's up and operational, you have a restaurant going, you have a school going, you have a gymnasium going, and everything going, is that what?
That's, the traffic would do that for us, based on shared parking, or I could let Betty explain her methodology of the shared parking.
Good evening. Yeah, so this is what we do for a facility like this that has a lot of different types of uses during the day, is we look at shared parking instead of what a particular use would require maximum and then add them all up, because then you're going to have wasted space and impervious surfaces that you really don't need. So all this information on this chart is based on national data that has been collected over the years, and we determine for the different types of uses what the use is during the day, how it's spread out during the day. And so that's what this this chart down here does. It says, okay, this particular time of the day, this is what this use needs, this is what this use needs, et cetera, et cetera. And then this last column adds them all up for that particular hour. And for this situation, the maximum demand is at noon for 90, thank you, Dave, for 90 parking spaces. So if we added them all up separately, we would need 106. So we're saving 16 spaces that we really don't need. Holly, is there any questions about how we determine that, if you like?
The only a quick question I have is on when you pick up and drop off kids, that seems to be a 5 or 10 minute window that's pretty intense.
I have made a point to witness that, and it was because of the way that's set up, parents don't all arrive at the same time, like you might with public school when there's dismissal at 2:30 and everybody's there. The parents come and pick up Cornell and Wright as they get off work. So it's very interesting how it's spread out. I observed it on several occasions to make sure that there wasn't that backlog on that parking lot.
we've talked about doing, in that prime pickup time from, that it's like 30 minutes there where it gets a little crunky. So we've talked about trying to adopt like a valet type of, because the parents can no longer come into the classroom, so we have our staff at the front that are calling the kids out, so we've talked about that 30 minutes, maybe doing like a all hands on deck valet where the teachers get to come out and put the kids in the car, and so we're looking at options like that as well for that time, just to make it easier for parents, especially with more than one child. You know, a 2-year-old runs that way and a 4-year-old goes that way, so we have talked about that on site.
Okay, with that age group, I assume that all the parents bring the children in, or that's why it would be the backlog at that time.
I would echo that concern. I've been by there and seen what looks like if you have more people there, it could be a problem. I know you understand that. It's just, we need to voice that concern.
So Betty, are you comfortable with the parking and transportation pattern here?
I'm comfortable with the parking based on the proposed use, yes.
The other question is, does it meet the code requirements, Dave?
Yeah, we had met, Mr. Rovansik and Ms. Tustin and I had met twice, I believe, while they were working on parking requirements. And you have some mixed, I'll call it mixed occupancies here. The restaurant square footage would have its own, if it was standalone, requirement for parking. Schools and gymnasiums are also 2 different occupancies with different parking loads according to the International Building Code. So we went through that in a couple of different scenarios, what percentage of the gross square footage that they want to add here was for each type of use. And you have some office space and some clerical space that takes away from that, storage space. So I was comfortable with the total parking spaces that they came back to me with. And then the other consideration, of course, was that it be pervious parking surfaces, because we have that sensitive corridor there with, I'll call it, well, stormwater-wise, we call Graham Grice Nelson, that corridor there, which we know we still have work to do under the road, that we don't discharge more stormwater off the parking area. That was our other consideration. So, yeah, we met several times. I'm satisfied that on site that they have accomplished what they need to for parking.
So there's no variance needed or anything, so it's...
No.
I guess the only other thing I wouldn't mind getting feedback on is the signage that we're proposing. It's on the last sheet, the 611. It meets the code compliant. It might have colors in it.
You decide it's on the building?
No, the sign is on the standard on the street sign.
Right there. Yeah, we looked at it, oh, I see it. I can read. It's very colorful, thank you. That goes on the corner, I assume, or?
22 feet tall?
Yeah, 22 feet tall.
Do we really need that? I mean,
up to 25 feet is permitted.
Yeah, permitted, but I mean, do we need that?
That's true. Wouldn't matter.
Yeah, here, whatever here.
Yeah, feedback.
Yeah, whatever
I
feedback.
mean, that's just, I think it's a little overkill for where you are. Everybody knows, I mean, it's obvious, kind of. I don't think you need to advertise, not that you are, but I think
Supposed to be the restaurant. is it?
minimal signage, I think, would,
Very good.
can save money.
Would you rather see like a ground level
Monument.
monumental sign?
Yes.
Right.
Where's the sign gonna be located? I can't pick it up on one.
Didn't see it.
Hey, see that color? See that color?
We saw the sign, where's it gonna be located?
Oh, where it's located?
Hookup's already there.
Yeah, there's a-
Electric.
Right, it's gonna be out, we showed on the site plan, but it is a little tough to see. It's right here on, off Old Ocean City Road.
That's going to be one of those changing signs like the fire department has that you can't read on the way
That's
by.
an 8.5 by 11. That's it, yeah, right there.
Where's the mark for it?
I think there's something like that.
Oh, they were just showing me.
Right here. Right here off Old Ocean City Road. Edge of the parking there.
Page 8.21, is that sign on the side of the building also gonna be there?
Yeah. Yeah, this is right here.
You see that?
It's on the north side, I think, it's the north side.
So all the signage is visible from Old Ocean City Road, not from Graham.
The sign will be perpendicular to Grand Island, or Old Ocean City, right?
Yeah, yeah, so, you know, exactly.
Now, the parking chicken, the electronic signs is being illuminated, or the reader board is always going to say the parking chicken.
That's just a,
Like, is it LED with like a changing, like,
I wanted to see it.
I guess that's up for
Discussion.
Up for discussion?
Yeah.
I was just doing,
Yeah.
didn't know what your idea was right now.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to say different things because we do so many different things.
Okay, so it would be changing, not parking chicken all the time.
Mhm.
Got it. So it'd be a LED, is there,
Yeah.
So we're talking about reducing the height of the sign?
Like monument, is that like on the ground?
Yeah, you can build, I mean, it could still be 10
Yeah.
feet tall or something, but, or 8 feet tall, but very visible, but,
Okay. I'm cool with that.
like Ron, what you were thinking of was like, what the Berlin Fire Company has, where it's a rear board, yes, but it's low to the ground.
Yeah, monument sign, yeah,
It's
just
just
so
like-
it's anchored to the ground, not
Two big pillars and.
way up in the air.
Thank you for pointing us to that, I just,
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I didn't want it
thanks.
to come back next month.
Thanks,
and
yeah.
Or anything else.
Good move.
that was pretty tall.
Yeah, I'm cool with a lower sign because, you know, the higher sign, maybe the kids might try to, you know, I don't know.
You're self-advertising there anyhow, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any residential uses close by there anyhow, other than Nelson. So it's not gonna affect any houses over there.
Right, we don't have them, Old Ocean City Road.
How about parking lot lighting? Is there any parking lot lighting?
Yeah, there'll be some standard lighting, but it'll be metal halide focused on the parking lot.
They usually
Just some security lighting, not, you know, there are homes around there, so we would be careful about the directed towards them.
Any comments from the commission on landscaping?
what's your department, Pete?
I don't have a whole lot to say on this one, I guess you're gonna do some landscaping there of some type. It's pretty tight as it is, and looks like an attractive project, so. yeah. Plant a big monumental tree wherever you can, if you can.
Right, yeah, some shade, show the kids like that, right?
some of the big cool tree outside over the years would be cool for the kids to go play under, you know, the historic big
Yeah.
old tree. We need, they're all dying all over town, so we need to plant some new ones somewhere.
No, we'll come back next month and get the site plan approved.
So the outdoor seating, is there, you plan on putting a fence along there or something, or?
We, what we want to do is, I don't know if you've seen out west, or actually, you know who has it, Coastal Salt in Ocean City, where you pull, like, it's like doors that you pull open, so it can be like enclosed, but open.
All right, so.
We also looked at like,
Sliding, right there over the sliding glass wall. and also on
yeah,
the-
like a
on
big
the
slide, yeah.
South side, or the east side, right.
And then we talked about putting a garage, decorative garage door. They have some of those things out west too.
Like rise up past them, that's right.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Any other questions, anybody? Any questions from the public? Yes, ma'am.
What's the occupancy on the restaurant?
We're showing it as 38 seats,
Pardon?
38 seats.
People, how many?
Oh, the occupancy? So that is a building code question, which I don't have the answer to. You mean the total like fire code occupancy
You have
allowable?
84 tables this evening here. I don't
On
know
the
if
site
you're aware of
plan?
that.
It's out, you have outside also.
Outside,
right?
inside.
Outside and inside.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's outside, inside.
there's, we allow, the parking calculations have allowable, we have 38 seats inside. So we're,
And are those bathrooms, the bathrooms for the whole area? Are those enough for the restaurant and the gym?
those bathrooms are just for the restaurant. There is a connection, it's not really connected to the public. There's just a one door that goes, for fire access, I think, more than,
So they weren't.
there won't be like back and forth between the gym and,
So there's restrooms on the gym side?
yeah.
Yeah, we have 15 actual toilets and actual sinks on the already existing.
In the old building?
Mhm.
Okay.
Plan on doing it all at once again, or is it gonna be phased? That's
I
the,
think I'm gonna do the front first. The
The north side.
Sorry.
Yeah,
northeast, west, south.
yeah, the part on Old Ocean City, right?
Yeah, we're gonna do that first. I think maybe just kind of doing it in phases, phase 1, 2, and 3. And then, I'm not sure which one will come next.
okay. All right, I think the mechanical thing is the sticking issue with, I think, pretty much everybody here.
The airplane things on top.
Oh, we call them buses. I call them buses. I don't know what you call
Oh my
them. Anyway.
goodness.
Were you
Anyway.
surprised too?
Well, I don't really know what I was doing the first time around, and then we got it built, and then we could not find anybody to service them. And then they broke, and then somebody out in Fruitland would come down and service them, and then they never replaced the stuff on them, they just said they did. So then they broke again. So they are been
Yeah,
a real pain.
Okay.
thanks for moving them.
It's been one thing after another with those things.
Okay, any more questions from the public? Anybody, any commissioners?
I'll just say conceptually, I think it's a great idea. It's awesome. I mean, more and more families are coming to Berlin, as we know, and younger kids, and I think it's great to see it expanding. It's a testament to your success. Put in a racquetball court for Pete.
Yeah, for everybody, to survive the winter here.
There's a big walking track up above.
I don't
On
want
the
to walk
second
indoors.
Put it on the railroad track.
Yeah. Give me a warm room to play
15
something.
minutes. Okay, anybody else? Dave, anything? Okay.
I would just reiterate, we're lucky to have this facility in town. It's really certainly done a good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Cool, thank you.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 7, concept plan review, Evans Road. Anybody here for that?
Good evening, my name is John Wilson, representing J.E. Wilson Construction and A&G Veteran Development, and Doug Jones representing F's.
F. Douglas Jones Surveying.
Okay. Dave, you have anything you want to start with?
Yeah, first off, this is purely a conceptual. This is purely like a concept plan, more of a discussion. The applicant had approached me about possibility of a subdivision on this parcel out. It's not in the town limits, so it would require annexation at a later date. To date, we haven't received a petition for annexation, which starts with a letter to the mayor and council. That gets referred to the planning commission for a recommendation and study. That would also have a 60-day period where Maryland Department of Planning and the county commissioners and county planning comment. They get 60 days to do that before we can go to any public hearings. And then later, it's a public hearing of the planning commission to make a recommendation on the petition to the mayor and council. And then the mayor and council would hold a public hearing to decide if it would be annexed into town. It's been a while since we did one, so that's why I wanted to just refresh everybody's memory on that. I have gotten a couple of written comments today, but I'll save them to last after discussion, and then I'll read them into the record. They are short, so it's not like we're going to hold anybody up. But I'll let the applicants tell you what their idea is.
Okay, go right ahead, please.
I'm thinking about a development off of Evans Road, approximately 55, 57 units. They will all be single-family homes. I think I have submitted an elevation and plans of the type of house that we will be building out there. They will semi-match the houses that's built adjacent to them in Powell Circle. We have been talking with Mr. Mark Slavin and Ms. Catherine Banks about the water and sewer going under the railroad tracks also for that.
here to answer any type of questions, but what we try to do is, as far as a concept, didn't want to necessarily just come in with an idea to annex into the town without at least having some idea of what was being proposed out there. From a development standpoint, what we looked at was, of course, it's a unique piece of property, and it does have its certain conditions, and part of that we're trying to preserve, especially for the forest conservation. So the existing, what we've done is to provide a concept of what we're willing to put out there. I think the forest conservation, as we have it here, is probably in excess of what would be required. But we're also looking at it for landscaping, for buffering, for the aesthetics, for the surrounding properties as well. We do abut one existing subdivision, which is the Franklin Knowles subdivision, and it would provide a screening between this development and that development so that you're not really just staring at two backyards. We're trying to promote at least some type of greenway through there. We're in discussions as to whether it could be passive or it can be, I don't say aggressive, but open to like trails and walking and so forth. So that's one of the concepts that we're thinking about addressing. We do have some unique things out there that if we're moving forward, once a survey is done, we would be able to identify a lot more features anything underground that might be on Evans Road, but more importantly, any type of utilities, especially electric. I know there's an electric line that comes across the field back there, kind of lines up with Evans Road after it makes that turn. And we could certainly make adjustments to any type of conditions that would be out there for that. Right now, we do have a plan with stormwater management ponds. No calculations or anything have been done with that. We just understand that there's going to be areas that are going to be required for those facilities. We're planning to have sidewalk, the grass vegetative strip between the curb lines and the sidewalks with landscaping and lighting to stand in, I'd say, with more in tune with what the other developments have with the
Victoria lights shining down.
Victoria lights and so forth. So that's what we're trying to propose, and just asking for any type of input, what our next step would be if it's receptive. What I would have to do as a designer or surveyor to look at it for a presentation, if that's actually part of the annexation request, if it gets to that point.
Well, these developments come before us. It's a lot of homes, a lot of people. People gotta have open space, something to do. Or they're gonna be all over the other people's property, and they're gonna be around. Here I see no amenities. I'd like to see some amenities, some open space.
I don't mean to interrupt, but we did, if you look at the different outlot designations, there is one outlot.
Towards the middle.
It's right in the middle. I got a small print. It's outlot D. It's proposed as like a recreation, active, what I would say, an active open space.
Yeah, but it's not very big. I mean, it's not enough for the proposed density of this project in my mind. But it's just, and I mean, you want to build as many homes as you can. You want to pack them in there. I get it, I know. But as these things come, if we approve these things, these people have to have something to do, somewhere to go, somewhere to recreate, and it would be better to have more open space within the project, more place for them to gather, or whatever you want, community center or something, or somewhere for the kids to play, playground or something. And I just don't see much open space here, was the first thing that hit me.
And we were, the lot sizes there are nice lot sizes
I see that.
for family, to be able to use their own yards. And I agree with you. I think everything revolves around it, but what we also like to try and do is not create a nuisance at the same time with sometimes activities that might happen at certain places if they're too remote. So that would be things that we would take into consideration also.
The swim pond, what is that exactly?
Stormwater management plan.
It should be a stormwater management
Okay,
pond.
that's fine, I just, you're good.
It's like a rather large chicken operation with, like 200 feet away. But you're right across the road.
Gets real funky too.
That's the name of the new restaurant. It looks like it's 200, maybe 200 feet from the lot 41, 40, 39, et cetera, et cetera. I know you have, looks like an active farm, or, I don't know what do they grow there, corn and soybeans, they put that on?
Yeah.
Is that where the crop duster gets complaints all the time? From the lady here from Washington DC, doesn't know where her food comes from? Wow, I mean, that's, anyway.
Wonder what's implying up there.
Well, your forest conservation area, it's not forested right now, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry, part of it is
Okay.
in forest right now.
I mean, is there an opportunity to turn that into a big recreational area, or do you have to plant trees, or are you buying that out?
I think that's something that we were discussing, because when we look at it, I would look at it as the intent of the law, not necessarily
Sure.
what the use of the forest would be.
Well,
And
most of that's still farm field there, isn't it?
most definitely, the forest, if you look there at the very tip of the arrow, you'll see a little woods line edge that we've drawn in, that we've taken from the photos.
Right.
That is the existing forest that is out there. The rest of it would have to be planted, or, afterwards, or like I said, mitigated off-site if it becomes more of an open opportunity. So, for us, putting walking trails around anything would be, I'm all for anything that would put people out into the open spaces.
When this project opens, for me, an old dialogue we've had, I'm concerned about the increased traffic on West Street.
Evans Road.
I'll start a project down West Street to get to Vermont.
Yeah, okay.
Right, because, are people going to go to Route 113 to access Route 50? Are they going to go downtown Berlin to go through Main Street to get to Route 50 that way? In the past, we've talked about probably, as Berlin grows, we really need a west side beltway. It gets over to Broad Street, gets over to West Street, and gets over to Route 50 somehow.
Beltway sounds so, Beltway sounds so metropolitan.
Well, that's where we appear to be going, isn't it? Keep on annexing properties, yeah, that's usually what happens.
And the idea there was we have an increasing traffic problem coming into downtown Berlin, and this project is going to dump a lot more in there. I'm not inclined, we've talked in the past frequently about trying to preserve the town as a town, not as a sprawling suburban district, but we want to have a green buffer and a green belt around it. And this is an intrusion into that green belt that naturally exists. We need housing, that's for sure, but we don't have the road system to support a project of this intensity, in my opinion. I live on West Street, I see what happens there, and I know what this is going to do.
So if the volume of homes was reduced, would that
I'd like
be
to-
more sufficient?
I always look at this as a piece of land, and wow, it'd be nice to build some 5-acre lots there, and then build some, country estates and meet an
We could keep
upscale.
it in the county and get 5 lots.
Well, that's
Yeah,
true.
true.
But that might be best for Berlin, too. That way you have a transitional buffer. But to me, it's way more lots than I'd want to see until we have a plan for a road system that's going to bypass going downtown to get to Route 50 and elsewhere.
Has the town looked into any type of studies for in and out of Berlin?
We've talked about it theoretically. I call it the Ed Hammond Beltway. He's the guy that introduced the idea to me that we need to have a west side access point to 50. So it originated with Ed Hammond.
It's in the county comprehensive plan too.
Is it?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
That, you know, eventually that's gonna be, but that was predicated in the county comprehensive plan on, the growth residentially being centered on Berlin.
Right.
They were counting on that, and that hasn't really materialized yet.
Right. Well, this
You know,
project.
to the west of town, you know, too.
This project focuses the issue. That's
right.
That's the usefulness of your application, is it's really highlighting that issue. And it's a problem for you, I think, at least in my mind, it is. It's a problem for me.
As far as a solution-minded kind of approach, if we were able to generate a traffic study on this development, giving number of trips per day, I mean, I know it's going to be pretty, I mean, if you got 57 homes, you're going to have 700 or 800 probably trips a day, I would guess. I mean, you know.
I don't know much about.
I just know when I glean off of plans, okay?
How many trips a day do you think this project would generate, in and out of your entrance?
In and out of my entrance, I think you could have anywhere from 5 or 6 trips per unit a day.
So maybe 5 times 50 would be the math.
285.
Okay. So of what proportion of those are going to go down, all the way down to 113 down Evans Road? And what proportion are going to go down West Street? That's the question.
Well, I know my experiences with going down West Street. I would avoid it like the plague because I run through so many stop signs going down there.
Yeah, I agree. I think the preferred path would be the 113 and down 113 to 50 if you're going to hit 50 to go either way.
That's the preferred path, but how many people will do it?
Well, like you say, West Street is no picnic to navigate, to do that.
Right. I mean, I'm just, thoughts is what's coming out right now. If I was in that subdivision, I would be heading out to Route 113 as quick as I could get there, or at least getting to that intersection, you know. The attraction of going down West Street is certainly there, but for me, it's not a road of where am I going for convenience? You know, am I going to get ice cream or to the stores, or would it be easier to go out Evans and then come back in? I know I'm a creature of habit, and you know, eventually I'm going to figure out how I want to go that's the path of least resistance. What we proposed here was just what I want to say, I'm going to say a maximum case scenario, just to try and push the idea before we actually go through the process of seeing what annexation would be. I'm not opposed to working in, and I don't know how the process really might work, but to come back with an approved concept so that you know exactly what you're going to be annexing, instead of just generally saying I'm going to annex in and then something might happen where you're waiting 10 years for results or such. I wouldn't be opposed to working with anybody and suggesting it back to our developers.
You're saying you would do a subdivision specific annexation based on an approved subdivision even before you got annexed?
We make me think, and I start speaking too quick. When I worked through the same type of process in a different community, it was the only way that it was annexed into the city or to the town was they needed to know exactly what was going to be happening on that piece of property.
Well, we have a similar provision. Before the annexation agreement is entered into between the town and the property owner, we have a public works agreement, a development agreement in place. It accompanies the annexation agreement.
What zoning are you looking for when you annex this in?
I believe we're going for R1? Is that correct? Yes, sir. R1.
The road from West Street to the country school or to the sports complex, is that still kind of not very good, or?
That's better, it's been widened up to the prep school.
up to the prep school, but good.
And that road's still.
Buckingham Lane,
Right.
Yeah.
that's a town road.
Yes, I know, I said,
It's
it's
still a funky road. It's
a,
not.
it's
It still has
a,
no shoulders, and
yeah, it's kind of,
it's a country road.
Surface is good.
It's a country road.
The surface is good.
Where does Buckingham Lane, where does it tie in?
At west.
Evans Road turns into County Road, is that right?
This section in front of this is County Road, yeah.
Okay, all right.
There's a stop bar, on the east or south side of the railroad. That's where the town, road ends. This side of the railroad. When you bump over the railroad, you're in county territory.
So what happens,
With the road.
what happens on a project like this if you're gonna run the sewer pipe and water pipe down there, you gotta get permission from the county to run it down, Evans Road?
It's gonna be in Evans Road, yeah.
So you gotta get permission from the county to do a roadbed annexation?
And they've also got, well, it wouldn't be a roadway annexation, it'd probably be an easement. And the railroad, they have to secure an access agreement with the railroad that's independent of the town.
Well, we know that, we know what's going on there, but, to get under, shove under the railroad track, but I'm talking about, if Evans Road is a county road, you're going all the way down here to the curb. That's a long way, unless you're just coming to the corner of the project and running inside the project, I guess you're doing that, I don't know, but, you gotta have permission from the county or annex the roadbed to get it over there, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's all part of that 60-day county review too.
Okay.
You know, like, and the environmental services of the county, Bob Mitchell and those people are gonna have to look at it. It'll end up being part of the county's septic plan, you know, master plan.
Well, if we annex the road, then we wind up with a maintenance obligation.
Yeah, and that's not gonna happen.
It's gonna remain
The
county.
town wouldn't do that, they don't wanna do that.
They don't want to give up the road. They would give a right.
We don't wanna inherit more road to maintain.
Right.
But
What I'm saying is the county, are we saying that in order to annex this, we got to annex the road?
No,
Okay.
it would, because it would be contiguous to Franklin Knoll.
Franklin Knowles.
Property touches Franklin Knoll, so we have to.
No,
So you're saying that the sewer pipe would have to come out of Franklin Knoll to service this project?
No, I said it comes down west, makes a right turn into Evans, and whatever, it's gotta be, they've had to get easements to put it in the road or in the right-of-way of Evans Road to get to their entrance.
Which would mean digging up Evans Road at your cost and expense to get that pipe in.
Yeah. Or alongside it, yeah.
Plus a lift station or a grinder pump and shove it back to West Street.
Yep.
right.
Correct. I mean, I'm assuming that, dude, because I don't know if that,
Well, there's no
I don't know
loop.
what kind of fall is there.
Yeah,
so.
there's no loop, there's not enough fall, and the railroad track will be a problem, because you're gonna lose fall of the road when you go under the railroad track, but you're gonna have to have a lift station or something there, unless they loop it into Franklin Knoll and it loops around, or something, I don't know, they talked about that one time.
Mhm.
But I kind of investigated the Franklin Knowles idea. None of that is completely built out so that you would have no access really, because I wanted to see if I could line up
Right.
property lines for these type of easements, you know, in case somebody that, but when I wrote through the development and looked at it, I thought, you know, is there any advantage to that? Because it depends on how high the sewer lines are, whether or not, you know, where we really might want to discharge or put that lift station.
You're gonna have to shove it back to West Street.
And to get underneath, when I heard earlier, to get underneath that railroad, there's gonna have to be some type of grinder station type of thing to be able to liquefy it and to get it through the pipe.
That's right.
what's your price point? This just looks like a pretty expensive house here.
We were looking at about $350,000 to about $400,000 for these houses.
Lot and house?
Correct.
You gotta build a house to buy a lot, or you can just buy a lot?
Say that one more time, please.
Can you just buy a lot, or you gotta build a lot house package?
Oh, we were doing lot house packages. I mean, I guess we'll be open to somebody that wanted to do a lot and still have us build it to their specs.
So they'd have to use it exclusively, use the builder?
That was the plan.
You wouldn't open it up to, about the dirt, and the builder?
We haven't thought about it, but, I mean, we can think about it.
Just curious.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear the reaction of somebody like Ron to this question, or anybody else who has a thought. Is it beneficial to go with 1 acre size lots here instead of almost half acre lots? Or is that a waste of property close to town, a waste of resources? What's the philosophical thought about larger, more expansive lots in this location?
Well, I don't know if this answers your question specifically, but, I mean, this is just classic large lot sprawl. That's what it is. It's out of town. I don't know what it does for town, except for create obligations for services. I think, we're presently discussing fees raising, taxes raising. Before we talk about having any more people at this party, we better get our act together. This is just what, this is, Pete, where everybody envisioned that quote green belt. That's here, okay? When does it stop?
I hear you.
Does it stop here? Or do we let it go a couple more out before we decide that Berlin is only going to be so physically big?
Well, it looks like, is that the Bay Club I see up here, some sand traps?
Well, we'll hit that at some point. if it
That's
doesn't
already
stop.
been, all that's been in the conservation, it's never gonna be built upon, right?
That's right. State owns that property now for conservation and recreation.
How do you see the county looking at this, Dave? I thought they had vowed not to have any more A1 rezone for development in the county.
I haven't had any discussion with them, not yet.
That's the problem, we don't discuss anything with the county. The county puts growth areas on us. The county sends out invitations to our party, and we don't even get co-signed. This is just what people I talk to don't want to see. More annexations, more large lot subdivisions. It's classic urban sprawl. To answer your question in any kind of way.
It's a good answer, right?
The county, they get 5 lots, maybe. 5 lots. Okay. We're holding the cards.
Yeah, myself personally, I don't think it's a good spot for, it's a good spot for 5 houses versus that road Buckingham to, Evans to Buckingham and West Street, it's just, that's a lot to put on those, and there's nowhere to, there's no room for expansion, especially, West Street's all residential, and I believe Buckingham has a bunch of houses on the left side, correct?
I walk and ride my bike and run that path probably thousands of times. And this is no place for that density.
And if I spend $425,000, I want to drive by warehouses and mini storages and.
You got to go buy warehouses to get
I
to
know.
what, Berlin subdivisions? What's that all about? What kind of planning is it? This is, sorry guys, this is just my opinion. This just doesn't work for good planning, good small town planning. I understand that you want to get in on the party, I get it, but not at our expense.
With that in mind, would you have any ideas? I mean, I know your background with
I say draw a line, Berlin, the people of Berlin need to decide how big physically their town should be and draw a line there rather than the line keep on moving out to where we're into Whaleyville and Newark. That's how things happen unless people take control of their destiny.
Okay, but there's been no growth plan, is what I'm hearing, that would help me to work with my client to be able to present something back, or...
The county's got a growth plan.
Yeah, it's all on us.
We have a comprehensive.
We have a comprehensive.
We have a growth area.
But does it show where your expansion
Yes.
would be? Okay.
All on the edge of town, just where, like I said, the county put those growth areas on the town. I get why they did it, because there's infrastructure here.
Mhm.
But we're the ones who are hosting the party. I think we should be the ones to send out the invitations rather than somebody else. And the people I talk to, they've about had it with annexations and the town growing physically.
Until we
We're here
get
to
a
represent
serious
them.
master plan in place, where here's what Berlin's gonna go to.
Right.
I think all of us are in this limbo.
This thing?
Is that in the works? Is that in the works or not?
Is that in the works, or?
No, we haven't funded an expert, we haven't had the public hearings to say, here is the absolute, here's where the Beltway's going, here's where the Greenbelt is, Berlin's not going beyond here. No, those decisions have not been made. We're doing it on a piecemeal.
And we just react to people like you guys who come up here, which is, we are a reactionary group rather than.
Well, we should be visionaries, right?
Well, here's the vision.
Supposed
I'll
to
tell
be,
you what-
but, you know.
Right, right.
Here's the vision, and the people in the town tell us all the time, and I feel the same, and I'm trying to be a reasonable person. I think the westerly agricultural boundaries of Berlin, I'd like to hold the line. I think we've got a well-defined town, and that's what makes this place valuable. Now, to the north and to the east, we've trashed it already. That's where we should be putting density. That's why I'm liberal with density over there. We've already trashed it. But the west side of Berlin, we got real opportunities to hold the line there and define this town as a standing town. Come out of the country, you're in town. And you're not going through a bunch of sprawl and the same thing you see everywhere else. That's what makes the property here valuable. That's what makes the lifestyle valuable.
And at some point, it disappears. The reason we live here disappears at some point when density, traffic get to a point. The costs of servicing these subdivisions that are out of town.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm kind of speechless with my approach right now, but, you know, if this is going to be an unexcluded piece of property, then, you know, I'll just suggest my client move on, but I would hate 10 or 15 years from now for a development plan to come out and show that it is part of what the grand scheme or grand plan.
Well, everything changes, and we can't predict the future.
Well, I agree with that.
And that's for the people of this town to decide.
But
right?
you're talking about a bypass, the only open
I guarantee
area.
that'll never happen.
I realize that, but the only open area that you have right now is between the Bay Club and this.
That
and
bypass.
this- And the edge of what you have developed.
That bypass will never happen.
So it would be through this field.
Not gonna happen.
And you're probably right about that, if it's ever going to happen. If you could ever coordinate all the owners, cooperate in such an effort. But if we don't bring in projects such as this, there's not going to be enough pressure to ever build a Beltway.
Just
Exactly.
trying to
I mean, the way I
save the
look at
guys
it-
money.
Right, you're looking
You're
at
gonna meet
57
officers.
families that would be living and enjoying the life of Berlin. They're being excluded from it. So
Yeah,
in-
but
in the
that's
same
going to
sense.
exclude us from the life of Berlin. When it
Well,
gets,
that's true.
when it
But
gets
you're-
to, when it gets to the point
Right.
where our quaintness disappears because of stuff like this, then that's on us, you know?
But precedence has been set before. I mean,
Yeah, we
I cannot look in this town in some of the developments and tell you that what we're discussing right now has really happened for any other place.
And we have made mistakes, yes. And we try not to.
But that's
make
what I'm
mistakes.
saying, you know, if there's a way to work within the confines. I mean, if you said, hey, cut this development, leave half of it in the county, and let's look at the area that squares up with Franklin Knowles.
We need to first find out what we're gonna do with the property in town, rather than go outward and try to figure out what's going on there.
Look, is there a suggestion to maybe come back in the future? I mean.
Well, you're always welcome to come back.
Well,
Sure.
I don't want to come back until after some type of other discussion has been had.
Just pay attention to what's going on, come back when you like.
You can always air this project out, we're just trying to give you our thoughts.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to glean.
Glad you come now, rather than with a finished set of plans.
I mean, that doesn't mean you can't do what you want to do and present it to the authorities, and we can send a no recommendation to the council, and they can overrule us. I mean,
Overruled, right.
I'm letting you know how I feel, and Ron and I have been around for a long time, and I kind of agree with Ron. I've come to the point where I want to hold the line, especially on the west side.
Even with opening up with more open spaces by reducing the homes?
It's open out there right now, it's wonderful.
It's a farm field
It's
right
wonderful.
now, and there's nothing wrong with farm fields.
It's as open as
It
it
defines
can
the
get.
town. It defines the town.
And it's not in the town.
Right, but the town does not have any control on that piece of property.
That's right. You can
You can go to the county with 5
But
lots.
the town has sewer pipe, and that is controlled.
We're holding it, yeah.
Right, the town has the sewer pipes.
Yeah, the
That's
town has
exactly
it, and I don't know if this is a good way to spend 57 EDUs. When we got all kinds of properties in town that we could upzone or rezone, that don't need the services out there, that still keep our edge. Now, don't take this personal, you know, this is where we are.
Oh, yeah, but like you were saying, the services by the up cost, but wouldn't this be helping the city of Berlin by paying taxes and stuff like that?
That's,
Would it be an offset?
that's like a crapshoot there if we pay.
How so?
Well, I mean, depends. We already can't, the town already isn't paying their own dues with our taxes. We're raising taxes now, you know? So why are we gonna take on more residential properties that don't pay for themselves? Because we're not paying for ourselves now. We're not sustainable right now. Taxes have been going up incredibly in the last couple of years. And talking about more and more fees. Until we get our own act together with our own family in town, we shouldn't even be considering taking on more parties. That's just my opinion, but I hear a whole lot around town. And that's who we're here to represent.
All right, any comments from the public? Anybody? Start on the...
View Lawn, one of the famous developments that should have been done. I agree, I'm sorry, but I'm done with annexing, I'm done picking up the bill for people, and the last thing I want to hear is how these developments won't pay taxes. Because if that's the case, Decatur Farms, all these other places, we wouldn't be in the trouble we're in. But we keep getting bigger, and dig our holes deeper.
So how they could get annexed in over and over, it just keep happening?
We are, if you're doing
Because we made
taxes-
mistakes.
Yeah, they made mistakes.
Competitive ones. Competitive ones?
Yeah, we continually made mistakes and were ill-advised and frankly elected people who weren't representing the interests of the town, the people of Berlin.
It doesn't offset. If that was the truth, this town wouldn't be raising the
We
taxes.
wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be talking about needing more subdivisions.
The
Well,
burden of the
it's a known,
infrastructure is overwhelming.
it's a known fact that residential development is a zero-sum game, if not minus-sum game in terms of taxes. I mean,
Especially
that-
out there.
Plus, that road cannot handle it.
No.
I mean, they widened the part by the school. The others is surrounded by 2 big ditches, has no sidewalk, don't even have a line. Walking down there at certain times of night, you're just taking your life, you're in God's hand at that point.
And no
Like-
streetlights.
And no streetlights. So you would be talking about that. I don't understand why we would have to annex. Like, why can't you just let the county take care of it? And if they can't, then they should.
Well, because we're holding, if they go in the county, they get at best 5. We're holding the pipe.
We can't have it. We can't
We-
afford it
we
in
all-
schools, we can't afford it on the roads. And I am sick to death of paying for everybody else's, new people's stormwater. I'm sick of it. I don't even get town services because I'm annexed. And I'm still paying the increased prices. I'm over it. I'm done.
Thank you.
That's what a lot of people are talking about. Just,
Yes, go right ahead. State your name, please.
Edward Warren. I live on 9334 Evans Road. I'm the chicken farm that's across the street from where they're talking about doing all this.
It looks good from the air, by the way.
But my biggest concern is that when people move into this area, they don't care what I've got.
yeah.
All they want to do is complain about what I've got. Oh, what is that smell? That's the first thing that's going to come out of their mouth when they get the first taste of it. I lived there all my life. I'm not going to put up with people moving into my area that I've lived my entire life and tell me what to do. I've been to lawsuits because of people that just don't agree with what I do for a living. But this is what I do. I raise chickens. And I'm sorry. That property has potential value, I understand that. But there's other ways I think that it could be utilized other than building 57 homes out there. If they wanted to cut it in half and maybe build 5 houses and put a tree line, so I don't have to look at their backyard. That would be my suggestion. Furthermore, if they add that development, that's just gonna increase the water flow from rain that washes over onto our property that I have to deal with. I have a tile that washed out, leaving me no road to get up my driveway. Contacted the county, they said, sorry, that's on your property. We can't help you with that. That's town water. So if you add that property, that's just that much more storm damage. So, the other thing is, I'm not talking anymore. Does anybody know there's a cemetery on that property?
Apparently not.
No.
Where is it?
If you look at a Google map, you'll see where the tree line does a bump out behind how the development across the road.
Yeah, I can see
You mean
that.
right on the north side of the property you talked about?
Not looking good, guys.
The little bump there, I can see it.
Yep,
That's where we are.
So just to let you know, my relatives are buried there. So if you didn't know that, no, not control.
Is it right here at the corner of the, right here? Yeah, right there. Okay.
You're not supposed to be on the other here, because you do that when you're selling the property, and it's not on the list.
Too many people at the party, man.
You know, I didn't go in there a little
Party
while.
already. You get it? Okay, there's nothing personal. Got it?
Okay, any other comments? Any other comments from the public?
I had two.
Dave, go ahead, Dave.
We're not in a public hearing, but I'll just say, first one I had was I received from Mr. Tony Weed, 302 Bay Street. He says, hello, this is an email to voice my disapproval of the annexation request / inquiry on Evans Road. Well, like I said earlier, there is no actual annexation request yet. The town needs to manage what it has, not increase in size. And the second short one I got was from Ms. Alyssa Maloof, and she doesn't, 25 Burley Street is her address, sorry. And she says simply, not interested in annexing any more property in Berlin. Thanks. That's all she says.
Thank you. Anybody? Any commissioners have anything else? Anybody?
Well, what's happening over on Franklin Avenue again? Did I hear?
Okay.
With this,
You guys have anything else you'd like to say?
No, sir.
Okay, well, thank you.
Time and opportunity.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
We'll see you again. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yes, sir, go right ahead.
I'm still just wondering about Franklin Avenue.
Yeah, I had a couple things I wanted to address. You got other questions? I actually went down there today, I had to refile.
Refile?
I went to the district court this morning, I had to refile, so.
Okay,
And
so,
they'll give me a court date in writing, which they hadn't before. And she said, I don't see it when I contacted her. So and she wouldn't take it from me, stand and email to her. She said, you have to bring it down here physically, because otherwise the court won't accept it. I'm like, well, what happened the first time? I never got an answer. So now I've refiled it as of this morning. The other thing was, we talked about Dunkin' Donuts. I gave you the communication with that. One of the other possible
Order. Excuse me, can you, you can take it out in the hallway or?
You can take it in the hallway, or?
Yeah, thank you.
It's kind of rude. One of the other solutions they talked about was actually widening the entrance, have 2 entrance lanes at Dunkin' Donuts. You know, because he owns the property next door that used to be a residential property.
is it
Where the
Whalen?
house down? In front of the Napa, there's a yes.
Spiro?
Yes.
The Spiro one, they shopping center?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So he's got that working. And then, one of the other things I wanted to talk about, we had, I believe it was the first time was at our November meeting, we talked about a text amendment for the fee simple lots for the townhouses, if you remember. And we tabled it, we didn't do anything with it at that point. That's probably gonna come up again next month. We'll advertise for a public hearing. I have to re-advertise for a public hearing. I can't just go to the next meeting. So, I wanted to know, it seems like when we sent out even a little, I sent out a little change to what, if you remember, Attorney Cropper had presented, and Matt was the one that responded to me. I guess he wanted more information and more discussion. So, before we schedule another public hearing, I want to know if you have questions about that text amendment, if you remember it. They wanted to make where they could have fee simple lots for each townhome. And what was the...
I thought, I was under the impression we already had voted on that and you were gonna rewrite the...
And I sent it out right
The
after
language.
that, like the day after, or 2 days after the meeting. And
Yes, I
I
remember
never
that.
heard it. I never heard anything from anybody.
Well, I know you
except
did
for
your
Matt.
part.
So,
I guess my question was that the front and rear setback were changing, they were being reduced. And I was trying to figure out why. But that's my big question, because if it's the same issue, it's like if the townhouses are gonna take over the same property, I don't know why we would change the setbacks. I understand the side setbacks might be different because now, they're
Yeah.
combined, but I don't understand why this front and back should have to change.
okay.
Yeah, I would like to know why, whose advantage is this going to? It's the same question I had before.
That was my other one, I just wanted
It
to.
doesn't make, if it's an advantage to the town, fine, but it obviously isn't.
And in my response to them, just over the last few days, talking about it again, I said, I think the commission as a whole was like, why do we need this? Is that the sense that I'm getting?
Yeah, I don't.
I don't know why we needed to change that.
Yeah, what is the upside for us?
I just don't think you hire a lawyer to come in here to present this with no upside.
It's the lipstick on a pig thing, because it doesn't make any sense.
It's still a townhouse, it's not like you're...
It's still fee simple. Everything you buy like that is fee simple, right? So
I'd like a-
unless you have a lot that you have to pay a lease on and you own the double wide, like in a trailer park.
I'm familiar with it.
Well, I know, because you're a realtor, so that, but for the rest of them,
The mobile home park.
I'm agreeing with you. I mean, just about any townhome in a HOA, a condominium, or a single-family home is fee simple to begin with. So why do we have to differentiate between townhouse lots? So I told them you just need a simpler explanation
Well,
about
there
why
is-
this is a good change.
There is a feeling among a lot of consumers that they don't want to have a homeowners association when they have a townhome. They're hooked together by the hip, they might have to have some cross easements, but they want to know, I got a fee simple lot, I'm not paying association dues, I don't want to be a member of an association, I just want a townhome. And that's, perhaps
Sure,
you've seen
but they also have a lot of amenities in that, presently they're not, they're gonna have an association of some type that's gonna oversee that anyways.
But also,
Right.
I'd have to look at it from, I'll take a personal stand on that. From an enforcement side of it, if you don't have an HOA, you have, common walls in a townhouse development. So typically, in an HOA or a condominium association, you have a board that says, and any outside element typically is the HOAs. So even if you have cedar siding and it's stained or painted, the association maintains that, you don't.
Well,
And I don't on my unit. And then the common areas, that you need an HOA, unless you have no common areas, typically if you have 27 units, 1/27th of the common area is mine and 1/27th is yours. But we don't have any rights to that, the HOA does.
I understand. Well,
So-
what you do, I got a case on this right now, that's why it's on top of my head, where the fight is, under the law, you're a condominium association, but they don't want to be, they're an association, but they don't want to be a homeowners association. But under the law, they're defined as such. But you can structure a townhouse so that you have fee simple lots with cross easements for the maintenance of the party walls. You have party wall declarations and cross easements. And all that's defined. It doesn't have to be within the context of an association. It can be done either way.
Okay, so, okay, in that exact context, if that's how they're gonna structure this new project, okay? Why do they need us to change our ordinance to allow that?
Well, that's
Because
the next
it
question.
it doesn't spell it out that it's not allowed right now. So it's never been an issue before.
But who proposed it?
Jason Malone, the guy who wants to do the 30, I think it's 27 townhouses up there on the westernmost side of 346.
Well, Dave, I don't think they can do it without the amendment to some of the square footage per lots, though.
That's the next issue, is if they're trying to get an advantage to the setbacks, then we gotta be looking at
And the
it.
setbacks, like, I understand the lot issue, the square footage for that makes sense what they're doing, but the setbacks doesn't really, shouldn't affect what they're building.
Right.
It can only be a negative for us.
I mean, yeah, you gotta suppose that they're not doing it for the benefit of the town.
Well, that's why I say it.
Well, just like, I mean, the recent
I
snow we
told
just
told
had.
them so far, I said, I think the big question from everybody is, why? Why do we have to do this? Why should we do
Yeah,
this?
because, I mean, the recent snow we just had, you know, the guy that has his fee simple and he's gonna, you know, try to get out of that lot, and it's part of the association that he doesn't want to be a part of. I mean, what do you, it doesn't seem to be there's no advantage to us at all.
Yeah, everything you buy like that is fee simple.
If there was, everybody would be doing it, right?
Depends.
I bet I know why they want that, and that's just the way our docks are set up. So that they say you have a fee simple lot, though even you have a condo zoning, your fee simple lot means that you are responsible for sidings and roofs. Those are actually deeded to you. It's a way for the HOA to be set up so that you are not responsible for paying for everyone's roofs, driveways, gutters, etc. I guarantee you that's why they're doing it. Because I am platted, I own my roof, I own my siding, I own my gutters. And the HOA docs reflect that the HOA is not supposed to be paying for that. So it gets very confusing when they sell these condos, when people realize that they actually own their roofs. And that's why they're doing it, to save money, and honestly, the HOA is gonna be a mess.
And the HOA also has the control over what roof you can put on there, correct?
Yes,
So it
I
may be
control
yours, but-
aesthetics, but you gotta pay for it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I
So-
guarantee you that's why they're doing it, also so that you'd be responsible for the sewer and everything else. It's done for ownership reasons and to design the docks in order to control but not have the
Yeah,
fiscal responsibility of that.
And they were packaging it, last time they were here, they were packaging it as, oh, that's more attractive, you own your own little piece and you have more control and,
It's marketing.
yeah.
Right, Dave, do you have anything else, or?
So I think that what they're gonna do, what they've asked is if they can come with both of those to the next meeting, a site plan for approval and the text amendment. So they'll move on if they don't get their text amendment. So just be prepared for that. We're gonna have more of this discussion in the March.
And that's a public hearing again?
It'll be, I'll have to advertise, it'll be a public hearing, yeah.
Okay.
And then that'll move on to the mayor and council, depending on what, what your.
And then they have another public hearing there as well, right?
Yes.
Either
yes,
way?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Your recommendation becomes their public hearing. No, that's all I have.
Okay, anybody else?
Your motion with adjourn?
You passed out this thing about
Oh, yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just saying, well, what do I do, what do we do? I mean, everybody's saying, what do we do?
Well, he's asked the owner, and, I know he sent me another email.
So the owner of Dunkin' Donuts is a guy named Nick? Is that
Yes,
the deal?
yes, he's a franchisee.
Okay.
So, and he had already said that he could probably, I guess he's got other locations. What he's got like expediters, where they, when the line starts forming, that someone comes out from the inside of the store and takes your order, and then he runs back to my car and takes my order, and runs back inside, or transmits it, right? And it get produced inside, and then they send people around the building and someone will bring it out to their
Well,
cars.
I submit that,
So they don't stay running in that line for, and then the other solution is, which may happen, a second line to the, I'll call it to the south of that, because he owns the other lot that's empty there in front of Napa. So he would have to build another lane so that you would have 2 lanes. And, you know, when you come off William Street, you could go in one lane or the other, and again, you'd have an expediter
so
there.
why is that an issue for the planning commission?
You can see that happening, right?
Because you all asked me to look into it, because
I think that's an issue between the business operator, the landlord, and the police department, because if William Street's being blocked up by
Well, it is.
traffic, then they need to
It is,
work
but-
out themselves.
it is, because, you know, I've talked to the police department quite a bit about it, you know, and he is involved, but, you know, at this point, unless we can make some change there, he's gotta live with it too.
Yeah, but we're the ones responsible for okaying it.
Yeah, but we can't do anything about it. We have no,
But,
We can,
but several meetings in a row,
we
you
approve
have
it, can
asked
we not
me.
approve, can we
What?
unapprove it?
What?
We approved it, can we unapprove it?
what, the lane?
Yeah, I mean, we're the body that approved it.
That's why I'm trying to take care of it, because you as a body have asked me to look into it, so now I've gotten to look into
And
it.
I've looked into it.
And you gotta give me a chance to
This
something
body,
happen.
this body didn't ask you, I must have missed that. But anyway, I think I think it should be an issue worked out between the landlord and the business owner, and tell them they gotta get off of William Street.
They gotta get
That's
off.
why I reached out to the landlord, and he's talking to the, I just wanted you to be aware that
I'm not
something was
I'm not
inching
being
along.
critical. I just don't
you
think,
know?
I don't think this is an issue
That,
for us.
that, you may not look like it, but sometimes I hear you.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I think we can get a health officer to weigh people,
All right.
see if they should even be in that line. Anyway.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, boy.
1,000 calories of coffee.
Hey, Dave, can you do the picture that I passed out in the beginning? I think it was storage, it was smaller and prettier. Or staff, you know? How you doing? All right.
I don't know if I still have